Good evening, BookTube. This is Johnny. It is Wednesday night here in West Michigan. It is January the 24th, 2018. It's 6:56 at night. I was looking at BookTube and noticed it's been one day since I made a video. I could make a video every day because, like I said in my last video, what my BookTube is basically a diary of a Christian bookworm. And I write every day. Not only in my paper diary, but I write in my 4 online diaries. What I do is I write in LiveJournal. My username is Crooked Fingers, and I write in there, and then I paste what I write in Crooked Fingers in my 3 other online diaries. I've been keeping Crooked Fingers since March of 2001. Also in Diaryland, username is Glory Cloud. And then I have another one called The Cloud of Unknowing. And then I don't think my other one has a name. You just write in it. So yeah, I just write. I like to write. I don't know where that desire to write came from. It's like I don't know where I got my desire to read books. I grew up among people who didn't read books or write or were educated. I don't think most of my family, well, I don't really know. Like I just mentioned recently, I found out that my DNA, that my extended family on my father's side could be educated. I don't know. So anyway, but the point is, I thought I'd make a video. I was writing in my diary. I'm on page 60. It's quiet here tonight. My wife went to a women's Bible study. She's looking, they're going through the prayers of the Apostle Paul. And she won't be home until 8 o'clock. I got out of the lower level. This book, Paul and the Law, Keeping the Commandments of God by Brian S. Rosner. The reason why I got this out is that today I was reading the old Dutch Puritan back in the 17th century. He was going to the 10 Commandments and talking about the Torah, the law. And so I wanted to read a more modern approach to understanding the law, especially in the epistles of the Apostle Paul. For those who know from my videos, I do not believe we're under the Torah. We don't live according to the Old Testament law. We live according to the law of Christ. That's found in, you can find it, like, for example, it says, I think in Galatians, it says, he says, if I can find it, I haven't looked at it in a while. He says, oh, let me see here. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty by which Christ has made us free, and do not entangle again with the yoke of bondage. Indeed, I say to you that you have become circumcised, Christ will profit you nothing. I testify again, every man who becometh circumcised, that he was a debtor to keep the whole law. You have become estranged from Christ, who attempted to be justified by law. You have fallen from grace. For though we through the Spirit eagerly wait for the hope of righteousness by faith, for in Christ neither circumcision nor uncircumcision avails anything, but faith working through love. You ran well. Who hindered you from obeying the truth? This persuasion does not come from him who calls you. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. I have confidence in you, in the Lord, that you have no other mind, but he who troubles you shall bear his judgment, whoever he is. Brethren, if I still preach circumcision, why do I still suffer persecution? Then the offense of the cross has ceased. I could wish that those who troubled you would even cut themselves off. For you, brethren, have been called to liberty, only do not use liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, for through love serve one another. For all the laws fulfilled in one word, even this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. And I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that are flesh. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. He says down here in chapter 6 of Galatians, Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Bear one another's burden, and so fulfill the law of Christ. So we live under the law of Christ, the law of love, loving our neighbor, loving God, seeking to walk in the Spirit, seeking to live under the lordship of Christ. We don't live under under Moses. We live under Christ. So anyway, I was just thinking about that, so I got this book out. I read this, I don't know, this came out in 2013. So I got this out. Today I went and got a haircut, my beard trimmed, and I had an hour wait. But I took this book with me. I always take a book with me when I go anywhere. In my old Dodge van, in the back seat, I have stacks of books that I carry around, and I always have a Bible, New Testament with me. And if I know I'm going to be somewhere, I always take a book. So I took this. I showed this the other night. The Christian's Only Comfort in Life and Death, Exposition of the Heidelberg Catechism, Volume 2 by Theodorus VanderGroe. This is a translation from an old Dutch work. You can see how he looks pretty old there. This is like in the 17th, 18th century Dutch Reformed literature. So I got these out. They were on my mind, and I just been reading those. After I went to get my hair cut and my beard trimmed, I stopped at thrift stores, and I found, at one thrift store, I found 4 used books. I found another Chuck Klosterman 4, which is, I showed you, lately I've been finding a lot of his books at thrift stores, 3 or 4, and this is one I didn't have. Chuck Klosterman 4, A Decade of Curious People and Dangerous Ideas. He writes on popular culture or pop culture, on music, on just pop trends. Like the last thing I was reading was on the band U2, Bono, and he had a little essay on Morrissey and the Smiths, Britney Spears, things like that. But he writes about popular culture. But I like him. He's kind of funny. I'm a student of pop culture, music, literature, art. And I found this novel by Joanne Harris. I got this as a free, at this thrift store, if you buy 3 books, you get 1 free. And so I had to get 1 free, and I thought, why not get this one. This is by Joanne Harris, a novel called Gentlemen and Players, a novel. She wrote that novel Chocolate that was made into a movie a while back. And then I found this novel, The 13th Tale, a novel by Diane Setterfield. When I cataloged this in my library thing, 13,000 people had this. That's a lot of people. So I got that, and then I found this like American history biography, The Great Divorce, a 19th century mother's extraordinary fight against her husband, the Shakers and Her Times by Ilyon Wu. Those who know, I'm interested in the 19th century Shaker movement. So I got that, and then of course I got this by Chuck. So I've been reading this since I got it this afternoon. I've been reading it all evening. Kind of funny. I was watching YouTube, BookTube last night, and they mentioned this book. Somebody mentioned this book. Who was it? Steve Donahue. This Paul Theroux, Sunrise with Seamonsters, Travels and Discoveries. I read this last night for a couple hours. I like reading travel books. I like reading. I like his writings. I have a lot of his books. I probably have 25, 30 of his books. He writes novels. He writes essays. He writes travel books. He's famous for his travel books. The Great Railroad Bazaar, The Kingdom by the Sea, which on the Greek islands, I think. So anyway. So yeah, I mentioned Paul and the law, this keeping the commandments. This is in the series New Studies in Biblical Theology. I collect this series. I showed you this when I'm reading in the mornings, God Has Spoken in His Son, the Biblical Theology of Hebrews. And the reason why I got into the Moses and the Ten Commandments, because you find the giving of the Ten Commandments in the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, and the book of Exodus, and you have the story of Moses giving the law in chapter 20 of Exodus. And that's why I'm on the law right now. I find if you read the Bible, Old and New Testament, the Torah, the law of Moses, the law of Christ is one of the central themes that you find throughout the Bible. And so I'm also still reading Hebrews and James, Reformation commentary. So these are the things I've been reading. These are the things on my mind, writing in my diary. Tomorrow is a Thursday. I'm supposed to get some books in the mail. I'll probably show those when they come. Tomorrow, my wife is off from work tonight, and tomorrow we're gonna go. We have to go get some bird food and go to the grocery store, go out for lunch, and I'll probably visit thrift stores while we're out. Maybe I'll find some choice gems to add to our library. I have other thrift store books I bought last week. I have not shown, but hey, there's always time. So yeah, I thank you for the comments. I thank you like this little spiel about me opening up how it's 7:09 at night here in West Michigan. It's January the 24th, 2018. It is a Wednesday. Today was a cloudy, gray day. Tomorrow it's supposed to be sunny. Hopefully we won't have any severe snowstorms rest of the winter. I know we'll have some snow. We had snow yesterday, but not really severe. And before you know it, spring will be here. But as I've said in previous videos, it does not get warm in West Michigan till sometime around the end of May. So even though spring comes in March, it doesn't really get warm here until May. And then in June, you have some hot days towards the end of June. But anyway, I thank you for the comments. Thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for your questions. Hope I answered them. I try to stay in contact with my subscribers and those who make comments. I do appreciate comments. I do like interacting with the people out there watching my videos. So I do hope you're having a good week and pray that you are all doing well. Till next time, bye.